something else.
Everything.
This is the Liver King in 2025. You probably know him best for his ball-munching antics and claims that his ripped physique is down to an ancestral diet and lifestyle. But despite a meteoric rise to fame back in 2021, Liver King has suffered through scandal, lies, and a downward mental spiral that's historic in its intensity and publicity.
I'm fighting for my family. So lim.
He's talking about fighting famous comedian and podcaster Joe Rogan. After posting increasingly bizarre and threatening videos antagonizing Rogan, Liver King was arrested on the 24th of June, 2025, and issued with a restraining order to stay at least 200 yards away from him and his family. But how does one of the most talked about influencers in modern times go from this?
I'm Brian Johnson. My family and tribe call me Liver King.
Happy birthday, America!
To this?
Good morning, Primals.
To find out, let's go back to the start and then detail what happens when celebrities like Liver King broadcast themselves losing their minds live online, with each example getting more intense than the other. Liver King wasn't always Liver King. Once he went by plain old Brian Johnson. Born in Texas on March 2nd, 1978 with inner ear malformations, Johnson wasn't off to an ideal start. And when his dad passed when he was just 2 years old, it didn't get much better. Johnson had a self-described hellish childhood where he was bullied for his ear issues alongside a speech impediment. Indeed, the absence of a father figure and his school troubles are what Johnson says led him to start bodybuilding in an attempt to become the man he never had growing up. And he didn't stop. At age 17, Johnson was already a powerhouse. But the beginnings of what would become his insane diet were already showing, as he admitted to consuming homemade protein shakes using milk and tuna. Ugh. It wasn't until much later, though, when his two sons fell ill that he truly upped the ante. After reading a controversial diet book, Johnson became convinced that the solution to his sons' ailments was raw organ consumption. And after switching his entire family to a meat-centric diet, he claims the results were extraordinary. So much so that he felt compelled to share his newfound knowledge with the world. So in 2021, Liver King was born. Johnson's social media presence exploded, quickly gaining millions of followers across TikTok and Instagram, where he promoted his extreme lifestyle based on 9 ancestral tenets: sleep, eat, move, connect, cold, sun, fight, bond, and shield. And if you're wondering what shield means, it's avoiding exposure to Wi-Fi and electromagnetic fields. From eating testicles to huge bowls of goat eyeballs with milk and protein powder, Liver King captivated his audience not just with the absurdity of his diet, but the genuine belief that his physique was possible through purely natural means. There was only one problem. This was a lie. Take this clip from 2021. Impressive, right? Only if we watch it back, the car starts moving before he starts pulling. And this little piece of trickery was barely scraping the surface. Everything exploded for Liver King in 2022, just 1 year after he got famous, when a fitness YouTuber revealed leaked emails showing that not only was he not natural, he was spending a whopping $11,000 a month on steroids and human growth hormone. Damn. This forced the king to make an apology video where he admitted to lying to his fan base and taking steroids.
Because I lied and I misled a lot of people. And yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician.
As well as pushing his unattainable lifestyle as all natural, he was also profiting from it, to the tune of $100 million a year, selling everything from grass-fed blood to female enhancement mixture. Okay. Understandably, fans weren't happy, and Johnson was sued for $25 million before the lawsuit was eventually dropped. But the damage to his reputation wasn't dropped so easily. And who was one of the first people to roast him for it? Joe Rogan.
Now that we know that he's fully... We're talking about the Liver King, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
According to Rogan, Liver King's team had approached him multiple times to go on the show, but Rogan wasn't interested. Something that Johnson seemingly wasn't too bothered by. He continued to post to his social media long after the steroid scandal, and it was his usual fare, only with a few more greens, larvae, and bee bits thrown in for good measure. Yum. But then in May, Netflix released a documentary on Liver King where he talks openly about having a criminal past, illegally printing money, and engaging in international drug trading. Despite willingly offering this information, just 1 month later, Johnson disparaged the film in a very weird Instagram video on the 20th of June 2025 with an injury to his face and twigs in his hair.
The movie wasn't the truth. My family is received everywhere in the world, anywhere that they go. Anyone who's seen the movie, they receive my family with a lesser version of what their truth actually is, and they don't deserve that. I hope to be able to share more. There's 12 of them, demarcation points on a clock. I call it king time. That's not because it's my time, it's the Almighty with a capital G, His kingdom. Bridging the gap, delta to perfect.
Things went downhill quickly. 2 days later, he posted 6 long videos, starting with this one.
I just finished playing Mario Kart World with Rad. Dude, have you played that game? Mario Kart World is so dope. And then we have these setups where we combine the virtual world with the real world, so we're right next to each other. We're right next to each other playing and driving. And
after a strange Mario Kart dialogue, he does this.
I'm picking a fight with Joe Rogan. I'm picking a fight. I am. Because it's out of principle. I'm not going to go fight with this guy. Do you see? I don't know. Hopefully you can see.
As well as looking and sounding unwell, the influencer's call to fight Joe Rogan was disconcerting at the least. He ends it with this.
Is this really happening? I'm coming to Austin tomorrow, bro. All of us. I'm driving there at about 4 o'clock, and I'm going to fight you. And I don't care where you are. I'm just going to wait. And whenever you're ready, it could be tomorrow.
The posts only got stranger, longer, and more frequent. By this time, he'd made his way to Austin, Texas, where Rogan lives.
Winding down the night with a closing prayer on a vibration plate, holding 3 sources of our Almighty Father fire energy of the sun, 1 behind, 2 in front. Golden ratio, you might call it.
This clip devolves into Liver King dancing about in his hotel room, and commenters online suggest it looks like he's taking a little more than just steroids now. In one clip, between more threats, he even discusses giving himself a coffee enema.
In case you didn't know, I take on the ground. This is where I lay in the shower. I lay here on the ground. That's my enema bucket. That's my enema bucket right there.
By this point, it was pretty clear that Liver King had gone off the rails. He'd even brought his whole family to Austin to witness and film his deterioration for social media.
You know, if you know you're supposed to do that thing, wash the dishes or whatever when you walk by, just do it in real time. That's the truth. Taste is the truth. It tastes pretty good to celebrate a week, to submit this forever from now until infinity. Dude, I don't know if you heard, there's free Wi-Fi this week. There's free Wi-Fi. And
if you were amused earlier, now's a good time to start feeling sad. What his family must be thinking, I can only imagine. Then on June 24th, it hit the fan. Johnson was arrested at the hotel he'd been staying at. He was charged with making terroristic threats, but released 2 days later on a $20,000 bond, with the small caveat that he has to stay away from Rogan and his family and has an imposed curfew of 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. every night. Even then, though, Johnson continued to post videos with an ankle monitor that's anything but ancestral. So what caused this apparent mental breakdown? It's hard to say. Clearly, he's got some serious beef with Joe Rogan, who he seems to blame for spreading the word about his steroid use. But that's not the root of the issue here. That scandal came out years ago. There's clearly a disconnect between his emotions and what he says. His behavior fluctuates erratically and his thought process is scrambled. His eye, despite being dilated, was actually caused by an eye injury, likely nothing to do with this episode. In a few of his videos, he talks about how little sleep he's getting, and that alongside the manic rants mean he must be in the middle of a psychological breakdown, a sort of manic episode, perhaps steroid-induced hypomania. I'm no psychiatrist, but it could be that being bullied caused him significant deep-rooted trauma. Whilst not a direct cause, it increases vulnerability to whatever condition he has. The episode may have been triggered by the emotional stress caused by the Netflix documentary and/or drug use, exacerbated by his lack of sleep. It could be bipolar type 1, as he clearly has erratic thinking, delusions of grandeur, excess energy, and he seems agitated, though bipolar type 1 is typically cyclical, and it doesn't seem he's experienced this condition before, despite being online since 2017. He could also be an extreme narcissist, however the biggest factor is likely his substance abuse. You'll notice his blue tongue, likely a result of methylene blue, a supplement. Now, we don't know how much he's taking, but many supplements when taken in excess can have neurotoxic effects. In other words, they can damage your brain. What we know for sure, though, is he was taking $11,000 in steroids per month. It's likely this long-term steroid use is causing some emotional volatility and impairing his judgment. Steroid use damages serotonin pathways and how you see the world around you in a very pronounced way.
Does anybody know what it's like to be bullied? Like really bullied? For a long time? So much so that you don't think that the world would be a great place with you in it. That's not happening to me now. But I did those years of my life. I call those Little Brian years. That's actually what they called me, Little Brian. That was my name. Things that weren't true were then disseminated in a movie. Millions of people, now people that my family and I, we go to places, they receive us thinking that we're that version.
Along with that, he mentions microdosing plant medicines, which I can only assume is a euphemism for drugs which are known to trigger and increase vulnerability to such episodes.
I microdose different plant medicines. Bags under my eyes. Haven't slept a whole lot. And it's been an amazing gift. When you fracture the physical, don't sleep, don't eat much, drink much. You go deeper into something else. You gotta maybe express something else.
And if you thought he stopped talking about Rogan after the arrest, think again.
If anybody knows where Seth Rogen's, the other version of him that rhymes with blow, if anyone knows where its family's going to be today, if you could let my team know so that we can stay within 200 yards, not close to them, to stay away from them. Oh, please, actually, I redact that. Don't do anything to their family.
Here's a tip. If you were just arrested for making threats against someone, changing their name to a rhyme isn't going to make it any less illegal. And to make matters worse, in the days following his arrest, Liver King invited his friends and family over to his lake house, where he continued spiraling without anybody acting like any of this is out of the ordinary.
I'm saying, like, this is how we move the whole time. Like the whole.
What are you gonna do about my knees?
You know,
then?
it's actually
I worry about a kick.
Or you can just
That's just
you
my
know,
knees.
When you end up moving.
My knee's gonna say,
And
sorry.
I'm wearing an 80-pound vest right now.
As well as uploading several nonsensical rants, Johnson called out Rogan again.
If a bully does this by virtue of them being a bully, they're not doing good and true, and they have power. You can have power and do good and true. You can. So, the name is Liver King. I am picking a fight. Who's it with? It's with a bully? $10 million is now what the challenge has been.
And he demonstrated his fighting prowess against a fellow primal.
Right? Do you want me to? Because which one? You going to do the vulnerable one?
You're the vulnerable one.
Bro, I stopped already.
Yeah, I get the feeling if he ever did actually fight Joe Rogan, it wouldn't be Joe cowering in fear. What followed are yet more strange posts of him staging his own arrest with fake cops.
When you're in court, okay. Barbarian.
Watch your back. Watch your back.
Scoot back. What's
Yes,
going
sir.
on? I tell you again, scoot back.
Yes, sir.
Scoot back. I don't care. I don't need you right now. Your turn.
And burning fires inside.
That's how it feels to be cozy. King time.
That said, I only wish Johnson the best. He's clearly going through a lot right now, and hopefully he gets the right medical treatment he needs. The thing is, authorities can't do anything until someone is a danger to themselves or others. You can't just be jailed or medicated for doing crazy things. Chances are, unless he admits himself into a facility to get help, authorities will have to wait until he endangers himself or someone else. Depending on his condition, his episode could subside without medication, though if it's more serious, he'll need medication to stabilize his brain chemistry. And it's common for individuals to have episodes for a year or more before receiving treatment. If you ask me, I just hope those closest to him encourage him to get help rather than continuing to enable his behavior. But he isn't the only celebrity online who's been through this sort of episode. Coming up are two other celebrities, and their stories are just as bizarre. Next is fitness YouTuber Connor Murphy. Back in 2016, Murphy rose to fame with content mostly featuring him shirtless, showing off his ripped physique to women.
Wait, you're not wearing anything. That's unfair. What?
Their reactions were better than yours.
Yeah.
Consistently amassing millions of views, Murphy's blend of fitness, humor, and cringe was a hit. Only in 2020, he uploaded a video that would change everything, sending his YouTube career into a dramatic downward spiral of utter madness, drugs, and pee drinking?
Excuse me, what?
I am free! I'm crazy? And I freaking love it, baby! Let's go!
So buckle up, let's dissect this wild story. Apparently, Murphy was an awkward kid and had a rough childhood where he was bullied and struggled to talk to women.
Man, I was a social outcast.
Because of this, he took up bodybuilding at a young age and at 17 was already 185 pounds. After transferring to a mathematics and sciences school in Arkansas, things got a little better and he got his first girlfriend, but he still wasn't accepted by his peers and claims his gym gains plateaued. It was now he probably started taking steroids and also began his YouTube channel. It took off and Murphy loved all of the newfound attention he was getting. However, over time, trends moved on and Murphy's brand of muscle-flexing bravado waned in popularity. Between 2018 and 2020, his content became progressively more clickbaity and suggestive, which might have worked to get a few more views, but also would have resulted in some of his videos getting demonetized. This problem was exacerbated with the COVID pandemic. Then, in May 2020, he posted a strange 9-minute video titled, Goodbye.
Just to let you know, again, I've done this in the last few videos, this is just acting, okay?
What is happening? I've gone literally mentally insane over the past few days. I don't understand. Do you believe that? Yeah, you do. Look at my YouTube channel. I'm popular. I'm famous. And this doesn't come from ego. This is because I'm unhappy. I have nothing that truly matters.
Understandably, his fan base were very concerned about what looks to be a mental health crisis unfolding before their eyes. But what was really happening was a whole lot more disturbing. You know at the start of the video when he says he's just acting? Well, it's been suggested that all that bravado he portrayed in his first slew of videos was actually just an act. He didn't like the old awkward version of himself from before, so adopted a whole other fake persona. The only issue is, if you act for too long, you can become dangerously close to losing all sense of who you really are, and potentially develop a dissociative identity disorder. In the video, Murphy states that he was happiest when he was that younger, more awkward kid, his true self, and then says despite achieving his childhood dreams, he's feeling worse than ever. He goes on to say he's not slept in 6 days, something that would have messed with his mind and caused hallucinations, before claiming he knows the secret to true happiness. Then he doxes his own location and invites people to come over into his bathroom to witness God with him. Jeez. Following this, he was taken into hospital, and a medical note shows that he believed he was God.
I am God.
Okay.
But this was just beginning. In a follow-up video, Murphy appears much more put together and confessed that a few days before posting the breakdown video, he'd had a, quote, spiritual experience with the strong hallucinogenic drug ayahuasca.
I was not myself for a while after I took it. It caused me to think and act very differently.
He then says that the entire thing was simply him acting in an effort to grab the attention of a producer and fulfill a dream he has of becoming an actor. Now, if that sounds like a pile of bull to you, it's because it undoubtedly is. More likely, after ingesting the ayahuasca, Murphy went through some kind of intense experience where he realized he hated the version of himself he'd created and had lost his true identity. The breakdown was all too real, and instead of owning up to it, he tried to pretend it never even happened. What we do know is that while in the mental facility, he was diagnosed with either bipolar or drug-induced psychosis. And despite seeming better in this latest video, there was one telltale sign that not all was as it seemed. Murphy declared proudly that he could now see through the illusion of death. Okay then. From there, content on his channel took a serious pivot. I'll just show you.
I fully admit that I am crazy. I shouldn't be easy on myself, okay? I am crazy. And I freaking love it, baby! Let's go! It is incredible. You guys don't understand. It is incredible to be crazy.
He goes on to say the video is really about enlightening his audience to this grand truth of happiness, though predictably he's not exactly logical about it.
I knew a guy in the psych ward. He swore to me that he could see Wi-Fi waves. And I believe him. Because the brain is a limiter.
Man, it's pretty clear that whatever that trip did, it had a very serious effect on Murphy's brain. After this, he switched content again and fasted for a jaw-dropping 40 days, live streaming the entire thing as he steadily became more and more emaciated.
So yes, I'm doing a 40-day fast. But yeah, man, it has been quite the journey, and it is so close to being done.
Fortunately, he didn't develop any serious health problems, but it goes without saying that this is highly dangerous. And from there, the videos only got weirder. For the rest of 2020 and into 2021, Murphy's content followed an increasingly unhinged trajectory.
I'm Mickey Mouse, and this is a family-friendly channel. Where's my sister? And this video is part of a play. It's a plan. Here's a clue. 31st of May.
From staring at the sun to questioning reality to drinking his own pee, it was obvious that Murphy wasn't getting any better. Oh, he also developed a Brooklyn accent and filmed himself eating sand.
So let's get up some slappy seconds here. Let's see.
At the same time, he was creating suggestive yoga content with random girls he met off the street and homeless people, and even started an OnlyFans.
Yes, I'm showing my you-know-what.
But that's nothing. In March 2021, after getting a degree that apparently made him a doctor of spirituality, Murphy announced on YouTube that he'd be drinking another man's divine protein shake in order to unlock secret primal powers from it. I have no words. Then in early May 2021, he made a post on Instagram that eventually was deleted. All this time, he still put on the facade that all of this was some bizarre performance, but his views kept plummeting and his remaining audience became split between people genuinely worried about him and those who were just as unstable. Around this time, a woman called Jane met Murphy through a mutual friend and shot a video with him, ostensibly about picking up girls while playing golf. Only in the final edit, he turned it into absolute nonsense.
2020. Oh! Yeah.
The next day, she went into his house to find it was an absolute mess with rotting food and boxes of random items everywhere. Later, she went into the kitchen to find ayahuasca on the counter. When questioned about it, Murphy said he was taking the powerful psychedelic substance every 2 hours. Now, you don't need to be familiar with ayahuasca to know that's a very bad idea. Even after just one use, the substance can produce significant negative mental side effects including anxiety, depression, delusions, and full psychosis. So continuously doing it on your own every 2 hours, that's a recipe for disaster. And Jane wasn't the only one who visited Murphy during this episode. After she left, he also invited YouTuber Micah, who came to see him with a friend to try and get through to him. Safe to say it didn't work.
It should be quite obvious that there is a purpose of being immersed in the dream. I found the perfect balance between just being this omniscient nothingness and then being like immersed in the game like a character, just like everyone else.
Despite Connor initially seeming interested in making workout content, the day spiraled fast and he clearly hadn't slowed down with the ayahuasca at all.
I'll shower you with love, my divine protein shake of love. My name is Stewie Griffin in Belle Delphine. You like this? I'm about to eat some vegan macaroni and cheese. Vegan. It's made out of plants, just like your...
This all culminated in a freaky episode where he dressed as a clown.
I will show you a very enlightening time.
That was the last straw and the YouTubers left. Not long after, he leaked all of his own passwords, including his bank details, onto his Instagram, so Jane tried to get the mental health services to take him in. Only they wouldn't, stating he'd not done anything to harm himself and the ayahuasca was a police matter. In the following days, his condition deteriorated further, with the posts coming thick and fast, though the craziest have since been deleted, until eventually on May 10th he smashed his laptop, wiped his phone, gave that and his credit cards to his friends, and drove off. He was missing for several hours before he eventually called his own phone claiming he was being held hostage.
And he is working for the government. He is with Jake Paul and H3. He is holding me hostage.
Of course, this was a delusion. Following this, his dad tracked him down and took him into a mental institution again. From there, he posted this.
What's up, guys? Dang. Psych ward again. Shoot. Here's one thing you forgot, though. Even though I am God, I'm also a YouTuber. Boy, do I know how to go viral.
Then, a few days later...
I made it out. I made it out. I'm out of the psych ward. I'm out of the psych.
Yikes. Unlike the first time, Murphy didn't seem any better after his stay, and some incredibly dark accusations were thrown at him by one of his former girlfriends. Too dark for YouTube, but you can probably guess what that means. Nevertheless, Murphy continued to update his channel, though the spiritual videos were replaced with increasingly clickbaity and even more overtly sexualized content. Then sometime in 2022, he decided to move to Thailand to live with another fitness influencer called Tony Huge.
Her skin is very soft.
To say Huge is shady is an understatement. He's known for peddling dodgy bodybuilding supplements and even suspected of being involved in the passing of another fitness influencer. In other words, he's very bad news. By now, the millions of views Murphy used to get were a distant memory, and it seems he was increasingly relying on peddling those same dodgy bodybuilding supplements for a source of income. What's more, it seems living in Thailand inspired something of a creepy obsession with ladyboys, something very apparent in his content after the move.
I look like woman, but I'm a woman.
Very soft. Feel like woman.
Yes.
Smell. Smell like woman.
Taste?
Soft skin. Yeah.
Wow, smooth hair.
Yeah.
How much you charge me?
You handsome man.
Handsome man.
Fee.
Wow.
Definitely smell like a girl.
Smells like a girl.
So you switch and now you're in right body.
Yeah.
Ah, I think this body suits you much better, yes.
This continued through 2023 and 2024 until in May of that year something happened that was terrible even for Murphy's standards. By this point he was living with his Thai girlfriend in Pattaya and she was woken to the sound of broken glass. She found Murphy bleeding and shouting incoherently and their home was a complete mess. Allegedly, Murphy struck her with a golf club before she managed to run away and call the police. When they got there, Murphy refused to come out of the bathroom for an hour before being arrested. Footage released from the incident shows just how much of a rampage the disgraced YouTuber had been on. And would you believe it, he claimed it was simply a stunt for the tube. Right, and that huge scar, is that just a stunt too, Connor? In fact, in a video from back in September 2022, Murphy tried to explain away all of his behavior by saying it was simply a way of getting over social anxiety, while plugging the technique as part of a course he'd come up with. The pattern is clear here. Take illicit substances, suffer from psychosis, then try and frame the whole thing as an act to save face. And some people buy it, but not me. Currently in 2025, Murphy is still in Thailand and seemingly got off lightly despite the domestic assault. Most of his energy is focused on peddling those suspect supplements. When you think that this guy was once a clever student with a bright future ahead of him, the drop-off really is astonishing. But Connor Murphy and Liver King's descents into madness are nothing when compared to one of the most highly influential artists of modern times, Kanye West.
No. I see good things about her also. People want to f me, I'm telling them. They can't f me.
Once a universally loved superstar, Ye's very public mental health struggles, addictions, and increasingly extreme and delusional views have turned him from a pariah into a figure of ridicule and hate. But how did this happen? To find out, we need to go back, way back. Born on the 8th of June 1977 in Atlanta, Georgia, Kanye's parents divorced when he was just 3, and his mother Donda raised him in Chicago. As such, Kanye grew very close to her, frequently describing her as his best friend. From a young age, Kanye already showed creative talent and attended Chicago State University for a year before dropping out to pursue a career in music. But in 2002, after a lengthy day in the studio, the up-and-coming artist fell asleep at the wheel and had a horrific car crash. Incredibly, he survived, and after having his jaw wired shut for 6 grueling weeks to heal it, he was more inspired than ever. In 2003, he released his own album, the universally acclaimed College Dropout. From there, he was catapulted into the limelight and followed it up with 2 more smash hit LPs. But in 2007, something happened that would change Kanye's life forever. After suffering complications with some plastic surgery, Kanye's mom passed away. Devastated, the rapper blamed himself for her death, saying she only got the surgery because of the fame he'd brought to the family. And because of the intensely close bond they had, Kanye was never the same again. While remaining commercially successful for the next few years, there was a noticeable shift in his music's tone, and the rapper's views on love went from aspirational to hopeless. But it wouldn't be until 2016 that the real cracks started to show. In November that year at a show in Sacramento, Kanye stopped the music after just 3 songs and proceeded to go on a politically charged 15-minute rant criticizing President Obama and associates in the music industry.
Obama wasn't allowed to do this and still win. Beyonce, I was hurt because I heard that you said you wouldn't perform unless you won Video of the Year. Over me?
He went on to urge Jay-Z not to send killers to his door.
Jay-Z, I know you got killers. Please don't send them at my head, just call me.
Hinting at a deluded paranoia that would manifest itself much more in the coming years. Safe to say, people weren't happy, even less so when Kanye canceled all remaining dates on the tour. Things went from bad to worse when his trainer found the artist manically writing Bible verses on his bedsheets and packing suitcases with pots and pans all while still ranting about Jay-Z hiring hitmen to kill him. Just hours after this mental breakdown, the rapper was handcuffed to a gurney and hospitalized as a psychiatric emergency. He was then diagnosed with bipolar disorder, something characterized by bouts of intense mania, erratic behavior, and an overinflated sense of self. Traumatic events can trigger these episodes, and just a month earlier, Kanye's wife Kim Kardashian had been robbed at gunpoint at a hotel she'd been staying at in Paris. Kanye had been devastated by this and saw it as a failing of his role as husband. From there, the rapper's downward spiral got progressively worse. While hospitalized, Kanye was stuffed with pills which he later claimed stifled his creativity and made him feel like a shell of a man. Because of this, he stopped taking them. Not a great idea. Although this episode ended without any further incident, it was around now his political views became increasingly radical. Then in May 2018, he appeared on TMZ and made this controversial comment.
You hear about slavery for 400 years? For 400 years? That sounds like a choice.
Despite claiming to have been talking about mental slavery, it drew heavy criticism, and it was clear that Kanye's mainstream popularity was on the slide. For some time, Kanye had been building a relationship with then-President-elect Donald Trump, and as his relationship with Trump grew, he even visited him in the White House in October before going on a nonsensical 10-minute rant to the president.
There's infinite amounts of universe, and there's alternate universe. So it's very important for me to get Hoover out, because in an alternate universe, I am him.
Makes sense. Then in July 2020, he announced his own desire to run for presidency, much to the public's amusement. But an overinflated ego and exacerbating mental health issues meant he was all too serious. His relationship with Kim was also being strained, not only due to this sudden realization that he was destined to be leader of the free world, but also because he found faith. Now, instead of the hypersexualized version of her he'd been encouraging their entire relationship, he wanted her to dress more conservatively. Understandably, she wasn't happy.
You're on your transformation doesn't mean that I'm in the same spot with you. So.
Okay, all right.
Their relationship was tested further when he kicked off his disorganized presidential campaign by breaking down and claiming Kim had wanted to abort their daughter, Northwest. His tweets became more and more erratic, yet still Kim supported him, putting out a statement defending her husband on Instagram. But Kanye didn't react kindly to it, tweeting back a garbled rejection and for some reason citing white supremacy. His unwavering faith in his presidential run, however, was unshaken.
I believe that my calling is to be the leader of the free world.
But despite all the bravado, Ye finished with only 60,000 votes, most of them jokes, a humiliating 0.000375% of the overall turnout. This was a massive blow to his ego, and at the same time his marriage to Kim was falling apart. In 2021, Kim finally ended it, and by the end of the year it was clear her ex was taking it hard, as well as taking issue with how often he could see his kids. When Kim got a new partner in comedian and actor Pete Davidson in November 2021, Kanye responded by tweeting this meme. Just banter, right? Only in March 2022, he released the music video Easy, which shows a claymation Davidson getting buried by the rapper. Then leaked text showed Davidson antagonizing Kanye by sending him a pic of himself supposedly in bed with Kim. This, it seems, pushed the rapper over the edge. As the year went on, despite Kim and Davidson's relationship ending, Kanye had another psychotic episode. After going on an anti-Semitic rant on Twitter and posting that German World War II symbol, he claimed he was going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people and had his account suspended. This wasn't the worst consequence, though. Losing his brand deals with Balenciaga and Adidas were. Indeed, back in 2013, Kanye had struck a highly lucrative deal with Adidas to collab on his Yeezy shoes, a deal which had propelled Kanye into billionaire status. But after the onslaught of anti-Semitism, they cut ties with him in October 2022, obliterating some $1.5 billion of his net worth. If you thought Kanye had been spiraling before, now it was about to get a whole lot worse. Isolated by the companies that he'd partnered with, condemned by other celebrities and the public alike, and paranoid about some invented Jewish agenda, Kanye was in the middle of another major mental health crisis. And it wasn't just his online behavior that was catching headlines. That same month, Kanye showed up to his Paris fashion show with controversial conservative commentator Candace Owens wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. This further alienated the people that had once looked up to him and drew the ire of many activists who described it as dangerous, disgusting, and irresponsible. And that was just a taste of things to come. 2 months later, after having dinner with Donald Trump, Kanye appeared on Alex Jones's InfoWars in a baklava and, while I can't say the actual name because of YouTube, he declared he liked that German World War II dictator.
I see good things about it also. I love everyone. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially.
Oh dear. It takes a lot to make Alex Jones look like the sane one. With his public image at an all-time low, the once celebrated rapper caused yet more controversy a few months later in January 2023 when he confronted the paparazzi outside his daughter's basketball game in LA.
If I say stop,
I wasn't running.
If I say it ain't running,
I wasn't
stop with
running.
your cameras.
I know, but
Stop with
Kanye, you're
cameras.
a celebrity.
We were there for Kim, Kanye. I'm sorry, man. Take the camera.
Throughout his whole career, Kanye's had a troubled relationship with the Paps. As far back as 2008, he'd been arrested for scuffling with a photographer in Newcastle, UK. But as his fame soared and his mental health plummeted, these altercations got progressively more frequent and heated.
How's it going, Kanye?
Don't say anything to me, man. Like, stop asking me questions. You out in front of my house at 4 a.m. Talking about how's it going? It's not going good. Y'all here trying to take money out to make money off us. That's how it's going.
Honestly, I don't blame him here, but that same year on the 19th of July 2013, Kanye was being snapped arriving at the LAX airport when he became highly agitated. Then he snapped.
Seriously, I don't want to fight with you, man. I'm just asking. You don't tell me, right? But you didn't tell me. What you're trying to do is get me in trouble, so I'll step off you and have to pay you like $250,000. No.
The rapper was charged with battery and attempted theft, and the photographer was forced to use crutches and a cane after the incident. Jump back to 2023 and Kanye's antics with the Pops were no longer the biggest issue. Instead, attention turned to his new flame, Bianca Censori, an architect he'd got married to in December 22. Since getting with Kanye, many people were concerned he was forcing her to dress in increasingly provocative ways and erasing her old sense of self. Indeed, while he was with Kim, he did exactly the same thing.
Kanye is coming over today with his stylist, and he's giving me a full clothing makeover.
It's clear Kanye is very controlling with the women in his life, and reports came flooding that he has a set of rules for Bianca to follow, including what she can and can't eat, and even that she should never speak. All this was exemplified at the 2025 Grammys when Bianca took off her fur coat to reveal a completely see-through dress, something Kanye is rumored to have forced her into wearing. The tweet he posted following the show doesn't exactly help his case either. This and his ongoing support for convicted sex pest Sean Diddy Combs is indicative of his misogynistic view of women. But then, from a man who frequently compares himself to God,
everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god.
And shows narcissistic tendencies, delusions of self-grandeur, and is openly anti-Semitic. Should we really be surprised? Well, maybe. The Ye in 2025 is a far cry from the Kanye West of 2007. In February, he posted a slew of hate-filled tweets declaring himself a follower of the mustachioed World War II dictator and spurning children with cancer. He followed this with a garbled mess of posts showing sexually explicit content and declaring in caps he would legalize sex work. Kanye has completely fell off the deep end. And thanks to releasing a highly anti-Semitic album, World War III, that most streaming services have pulled from their libraries, he's now banned from visiting Australia outright, the birthplace of his current wife. So what's to blame for such a radical change in views and career-destroying downward spiral? Well, his bipolar diagnosis definitely goes some way, his erratic behavior offline, and manic tweets online are clearly a man suffering from serious mental health issues. But not everyone that's bipolar is also a misogynistic bigot. Kanye himself has admitted to being a functioning alcoholic in the past as well as having an opioid addiction, neither of which are exactly conducive to normal mental function. And more recently in 2024, big vats of nitrous oxide or laughing gas were seen being transported into Bianca Censori's apartment. Multiple sources claim he has an addiction to the sedative supported by leaked text messages. According to his representative, his dentist supplied him with dangerous amounts in an attempt to diminish his mental faculties and extort millions of dollars from him.
Ryan Garcia, this I'm on the nitrous.
If abused heavily, it can cause brain damage, memory loss, and psychosis. There's even an argument to be made for that car crash he had back in 2002 causing some form of undiagnosed brain damage. Throw all of this in with Kanye's turbulent personal life, refusal to take his meds, huge ego, declining popularity, and failing business ventures, and you have a recipe for a man completely losing it. So what's next for this once great hip-hop artist? Only time will tell, but after all this, I can't see it ending well. And there you have it. Who out of those three are you most concerned about? It's a tough one, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.